Hey Hugs, just a reminder before you get into the show that we have merchandise, yes, and you can find it on our Ugly Truth website. There's a little tab, you can click on it, and then you can peruse to see all of our styles. You can grab a mug or a sticker. We have hoodies and t-shirts, pretty much anything you would want to show your pride for being an Ugly Truth listener. Thank you so much for supporting us. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Ugly Truth. This is episode 538. I was there. You gonna cough?
No, because it was like, it's like I've been screaming for hours.
I know.
Stop.
It's the way we talk. It's ridiculous.
I have to get off this bandwagon I'm on right now.
It's fine. Okay, so welcome to the Ugly Truth, everyone. I'm Jamie. This is my sister Paula. Hi!
Paula?
Stephanie! Sorry.
Well, it's not like it's the first time we've called each other the wrong name.
Hi, everyone.
It just came right out, though.
Are you new here? Are you listening for the first time?
This is not unusual.
Hello. Well, Sisters Who Podcast. That's us. Anyway.
There's our ugly and awkward moment, people.
There you go. That's the ugly and awkward moment for you. Okay, so I just wanted to right away. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Now, I listen to true crime podcasts the way you watch true crime, okay?
Right.
So there's this one that came out, and it's new, and it's called Deathbed Confessions.
Ooh.
It's very interesting.
Ooh, I can already tell where this is going.
Right, so it's very interesting. The first one...
I never understood people who take things to their grave.
Completely.
Yeah, like it could be like the day they're gonna die, and they still won't admit something. I'm like, why?
Yeah, it's true, especially if it's something diabolical, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like where did you bury that girl that you killed 40 years ago?
Just tell us.
And right? Who cares? You're going to be dead in 10 hours.
It's like the ultimate control.
I think it is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the second one came out, and it was about Otis something. I can't remember his last name, but it was the man who admitted to killing Adam Walsh.
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Adam Walsh's son.
No, Adam Walsh.
John Walsh. Yes, my bad.
Adam
Yes,
Walsh.
yes.
The one that kicked off the National Missing Child Exploitation Program. Okay.
That is such a sad story.
It's a two-parter, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I literally know everything about it. I mean...
I do, too.
It's everything, because I do like true crime as well. I don't know why, but I do. I always thought that the guy who was accused of doing it, I didn't realize that they were really 100% sure it was this guy.
Oh, yeah, they knew.
Yeah. So... the first part of this podcast is the retelling from the very beginning until they found him. Okay, yeah. But they hadn't talked.
Heartbreaking.
They haven't talked about his conviction. The second part will be him and the conviction to his deathbed confession.
Yeah, he didn't actually ever get convicted of the crime that he did, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
No, he did not.
He was convicted of killing like 2 other people, though.
Oh yeah, he was a serial killer.
Yeah, he was a serial killer. So anyway, so I'm listening to it, and I am full blown traumatized because
it's so horrible.
Because I remember, and now that I'm a mom and I know how little a 6-year-old is.
Oh my God, it's a baby.
And so
it's a literal baby.
And then I was listening to this and how the mom went in and she let him go to the toy department while she was buying lamps.
This was such a different time.
It was the
Mom
early
did this
80s.
to us all the time.
Well, yeah, because it was safe at Sears. You could just go to the toy department. I'll be back.
At the grocery store.
Right. In fact, she even mentioned.
It wasn't at Sears. It was at Walmart.
She even mentioned there was a ton of kids there.
Yeah.
And because an Atari had come out and everybody was taking turns playing, and so he was just part of it. Anyway, I don't know how that woman is living, because the guilt would be enough to kill me.
I mean, it's been 40 years since it happened, but I am sure that she has had...
I have seen photos now of the time when they were on television trying to get people to try to help. She looks like a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, she does not look...
It's a miracle they're still married, actually.
I know.
It kills so many marriages when stuff like that happens.
But they were so tight, and they were so united in this whole endeavor. I mean, the poster, which I did not know what it said, but it said, "Reward, if you have our son, reach out. We will pay anything. We are not seeking revenge. We just want Adam back." And that's what their posters were saying. And I'm sitting there and I'm taking a shower listening to it, and I'm like, my hands are clasped, and I'm like, please let them find them. Like, I already know what happened.
You know the ending, I know,
but I'm sitting here triggered, and I'm like, I'm traumatized, and I'm like, why is this affecting me so much?
It's awful.
But I've heard so many horrible stories about people dying and children being killed, and yet this one was so intensely difficult. And I haven't even gotten to the deathbed confession yet.
Oh, God.
And so I'm like, I can't. But apparently, I mean, it's not a spoiler, but apparently in his last hours, he admitted to killing him.
Well, I'm relieved to know that because most don't.
I know.
And as a matter of fact, it took a really long time for them to catch him, as you know.
Yes.
And it wasn't who anybody thought it was going to be.
No. They even thought it might be Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of
because he was there.
Yeah, there was a lot of theories. Well, he never had an MO of killing children.
Actually, but you know what was really interesting about him, too? They asked him, he goes, you've asked me about this kid a million times. He goes, I've admitted to everything. I've admitted to cooking people. Why do you think I wouldn't admit to killing a boy?
It's true.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's right.
He's right. Well, they were just so desperate to know. They wanted to know. I think they wanted to know for a variety of reasons. They wanted to know, obviously, for closure, but I think they really wanted to know. Everyone wants to know why.
Yeah,
there is no why. Yeah, no, there's never a why in a serial killer. But
it's terrible.
But they wanted to know the details. I don't know how I would feel as a parent of a murdered child. Would I want to know the details?
I don't.
Would I want to know those things about my child, those moments before his death? You know,
I don't know, but this one
they wanted to know.
Of course, they did. And you know what?
But we say of course, but I'm like, would we be of course?
Well, no, it's of course because now we know John Walsh and we know what kind of person he is. But for me, it's for me. I hate it when I say that. But if you are into true crime, specifically this podcast, Deathbed Confessions, so far has been a winner. Anyway. So there's that. Here's the other thing. Fashion is coming. The fall is here.
Yes, yay.
And I am disgusted because basically I've decided fashion has given up on us.
They wear toilet paper rolls.
They have thrown in the towel and they're like, I don't even know why we try anymore. And so they've given up. They expect us to wear toddler pants this fall.
Well, wait, what's that? Like bloomers?
No. You know when you have a little baby and boy or girl, it doesn't matter, and you go to Target and you buy those cute little pull-on jeans and with the little girl they have the little extra ruffle along the waistband and for the little boy it's just a regular waistband.
Right.
Well, they have them for big people now.
No.
And I was looking and they go, these are so stylish. I'm like these are toddler pants.
But tutus?
They're like pull-on pants.
Oh my God.
And they're expensive. And I'm like, no.
Because they're made by, all the top designers?
Well, a couple of top designers. Yes. And I'm like, no. I am not. I mean, I will wear juicy sweatpants if I feel the need because they make my butt look good. Yeah. And yes, they have some give. So if I've eaten too much or had too much champagne or something, then I can do it. I said, but I am not going to the store or online and buying pull-on jeans that have a ruffle around it, and that's exactly what they look like. I'm like, absolutely no button, no zip, nothing.
Oh my God.
The hideousness of the butt in these things. They
have given up. If this is what
they've given up on us. They're like, they're going to be fat pigs, so let's just give them what they want. Let's just give them these. Ugh. It's ridiculous. Not only that, okay, this is actually not a bad thing. You watched Bridgerton, right?
I did.
You saw how beautiful the costuming was?
Yes.
So apparently back in the old days...
That was one of the things we loved the most about it, right?
Me too. Back in the old days, women would wear nap dresses. And I'm like, and I saw the term somewhere, I go, what the fuck is a nap dress? And so I Googled it. I said, what the fuck is a nap dress? All this shit came up. A nap dress in the old days was a dress that a woman could take a nap, their daily nap in, and get up and go outside and not look like they're wearing pajamas. It was like basically a cotton dress that didn't wrinkle.
Okay.
That was presentable. Casual wear, basically.
Goodness.
Well, you can buy nap dresses.
God.
And they're gorgeous.
Oh, really?
I bought 2.
Oh my God. Are they here yet?
No, I just ordered them.
I want to see.
They're so cute. There's long ones and short ones. I got the short ones because I need summer dresses. Yeah. I don't have anything right now. And there's nothing to buy, by the way. And so they have a little bit of a puff sleeve, which I think is cute personally. I do too. But it's got the ruching along the chest to kind of keep things nice, and then it kind of just goes poof out, and it just like right around the knee, and the back is a little.
Is this new?
No, they're old as hell.
I mean, I know it's an old concept, but if people just start making them again, like they go through the most, we go through bell bottoms like every 15 years.
Right, and so I don't know about that, but it is really cute, and the patterns are great. There's like a little plaid. There's like like gingham and just solids.
Cute.
And yeah, they're really cute. And like, I totally see you wearing one. And then they're kind of, they're low in the back.
My stomach and my boobs.
Yeah, they're low in the back. And then,
so
but there's a tie along the neckline in the back. Cute. So it's got a cute little embellishment. But it is the same as the toddler pants in that it hides a lot of the problems that we might have right now, but you still look fashionable. Like, it would be so cute with little tennies or something. And so I'm like, well, I'm all in. I bought nap dresses. I can't believe it. I did it. I couldn't believe it.
I think I saw a picture of a celeb. I like to just, when I'm on Instagram, I will scroll the paparazzi photos.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through some paparazzi photos.
What are they wearing? Rags?
Well, I mean, they always catch the celebs when they're out shopping
wearing
or walking.
Sweats.
Yeah, that's what they try to get. Yeah.
Always.
And a couple of them, one of the girls was wearing something that sounds just like what you're describing.
It probably is.
And I'm wondering if it's a nap dress.
I bet it is.
So now I'm gonna have to
Now you're gonna go home and Google and go nap. Well, it's better than those tents that you bought yourself on CVS.
Oh, by the way, yeah, did you see those?
CVC?
QVC,
whatever.
It's not Rite Aid.
I did say CVS, actually.
You did?
No, you posted the photos on our most recent episode comments in Facebook.
Yeah. I didn't know if you saw it or not.
I did. And I'm like, well, that is something. I can't believe you bought that. And I called you Mrs. Roper, because that's exactly what it looks like.
Yes.
You were wearing Mrs. Roper muumuus. And I'm like, well.
I told you I was going through a thing. I'm
do you
like,
wear
this
them?
is what I deserve.
Do you still wear them?
These are things that I wear, like, okay, if I come home from work and I'm in work clothes and
you'll strip off.
I will strip everything off except for my bra and put one of those on.
Oh, I'll take my bra off. Are you kidding me? You keep your bra?
Well,
what are you, a masochist?
No. The only reason why I do, you notice that those
are
have...
they sheer?
No. God, they're thick as anything. Oh. They're like an inch thick.
They're like burlap.
Yeah, you wouldn't ever have to... Yeah.
It's like they're burlap bags.
Yes.
So when men say you would look good in a burlap bag, I'm like, oh, really?
I own
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
One's blue. No, but they had embroideries on them. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Well, the embroidery on both of them is right in the left chest.
Okay.
And it's really thick.
Oh, does it hurt your nip?
So it rubs your nip like in like 2 seconds. You're like, yeah. No, so you can't go braless in those.
These are ridiculous.
I fallen asleep in them before, and I'm like, I mean, it's not a fun thing. So
I hate wearing clothes to bed.
They get limited use.
Well, you know what? And
no
honestly,
one see me in them except for my husband, who was the first person to tell me that they were hideous. I make him let me see them. Like,
I'd be like, you know what?
Look at me.
I'd be like, appreciate your honesty, but I'm wearing it. So.
And you know what's worse?
I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go check the mail.
They were like $40 or $50 a piece.
Oh, shit.
That's the worst part. I got them on FlexPay.
Oh, my God. That's how bad you wanted to punish yourself?
To be fair, that was like 5 years ago. I don't even know what I was thinking. I honestly...
Oh, my God.
I guess I was depressed. I was probably fat and premenstrual when I did it.
Do you know what I do when I'm fat and premenstrual? I punish myself by putting on jeans that I know don't fit me.
See...
I'll put them on, and I'll be like, you know what? This is what you get. This is what you get, you fat pig. And I'll put them on, and I'll be like, see? Look at this. This is your fault.
I do it too, but I don't put on jeans. I just get naked, and I'm like, look at you.
I do that too.
You can hold myself. I'm like, this is like 3 roasts on your stomach. This wouldn't even fit in a crock pot.
I told Daryl the other day, I'm like, he goes, what's going on? I go, oh, I just feel disgusting right now. He goes, why? I go, I'm just really hoping I start my period soon because I look like a potato.
I hate it.
He's like, no, you don't. Stop saying that about yourself. God. You know what?
The thing is you have to appreciate the fact that he won't be honest. I don't know if he really doesn't think it.
I don't know, but I hate it.
He probably doesn't think it.
I think he thinks it and goes, you know what, though? She would immediately lash out at me.
Yeah, but you're not allowed, we are allowed to say we're fat pigs and we look like potatoes.
Of course.
But if they agree with us... Can you imagine?
No. It's almost like but in his mind, he's like, it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. So he knows not to say anything.
I don't even say anything. That's the thing about my husband is I think it's because I have, what's the word? Emasculated him so much.
Emasculated?
Yeah. You know what I mean,
though? Hand gesture?
That he will never go there and be like, agree or say, yes, you do look like a potato. No, never.
He's like, I don't really feel like being emasculated again today.
Right, but at the same time, right. At the same time, if I say something like that, he's kind of dismissive.
He's like,
No, he doesn't even he'll just look at me and
just like
he'll like shrug his shoulders and walk off.
Oh my God.
So it's almost like it's passive aggressive.
Yeah, hardcore. And you're like, what?
Because what he should say is what Daryl says.
It's like, that's absolutely untrue. You're a vision. You're beautiful.
Yeah. Remember the other day when you told me my face looked like bacon? He was like,
okay, so you see what I look like right now, Ray?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Well, it's not ideal. I need a shower. I need to wash my hair. I have no makeup on. Okay. So I went downstairs and Daryl was like, you look so cute. I'm like, okay, you know what? I know it's Friday and you want to have sex, but this is not.
Oh God, are you guys like on a cycle? It's Friday. Yay!
No.
Oh my God.
No. But I'm just saying, I'm just like.
True old people style.
Like, come on.
Jamie, it's the 13th and the last time.
He's like, it has been 4 days. No. Nothing like that. Although I will say this. I know you don't like to hear about it, but we had a lot of sex on our anniversary weekend.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Which is normal. It's like honeymoon, whatever. And plus, I don't know about anybody else, when you're in a hotel and there's nobody.
Well, I mean, there's no responsibility. You feel very free when you travel.
We were feeling very free. And
good.
And so
we should be miserable and you should hate each other and like be fully clothed every night.
It was to the point. The next morning he goes, "Are your legs sore?" I'm like, "They're a little sore. Yes, my legs are sore. But I used a lot of muscles over the weekend." And so
muscles I haven't used in a long time.
And so, we high five each other. We're like, nice, but
that's good.
It had been like 3 or 4 days since we got back, and so we were talking in the office, and I was like leaning on his desk, and he was giving me this look. I'm like, God, really? And he goes, what? I go, like, I know it's been 4 days, which is a long time for us. I go, but I mean, we had so much sex. You're ready.
He's a man.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
I go, God, I was so satisfied. I go, maybe tomorrow? I go, all right, whatever,
Well, you know what? You should be grateful.
We ultimately had sex, but I'm just saying that it was like, really, I was so satisfied by that weekend. I'm like,
I've had enough. I'm really good for like another 24 hours.
I could go another day, but no.
Well, if I were you, I would be. And someday grateful. You will be. I know we're still so young, but someday you will be so grateful that your husband was still wildly attracted to you after almost 25 years of marriage.
I have to say, there was, I don't know where I saw this. It was a video, and it was on something, and I don't even know what it was. It was a long time ago, and I've never forgotten it. This woman was it was a couple, and they were in their like late 80s, early 90s, and they were still married, and she's like, they're like, do you guys still have an intimate relationship? They were just talking, I think it was about marriage, and they were interviewing different aged couples.
To see, right.
And so she said, so they said, are you guys still intimate? And she's like, well, and he's like, oh yeah. And she's like, he would do it every day. And I'm like, these are 90-year-olds.
I mean, that is so crazy to me.
And he's like, I can't get enough of her. And I'm like,
aww.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is my life.
Right?
I mean, that means when I'm and I
you're thinking like by the time we're that age,
it'll just be about companionship. Oh no, no. And so in my mind, I was like a little sad because I'm like, that means I'm going to be fighting him off until I'm in my 90s,
right? I've heard that though. Yeah, I've heard that though that it's not that uncommon for really old people to have like fantastic sex lives.
And I had just read this not the other day, but a while ago. But I just read this that they were like, we need to stop being so offended by seniors having sex.
Like stigmatizing it, right?
It's like they're not feeble old people. They are still human and they are sexual. And I'm like, you know what? That's true.
And think about it. Sex is
not, you know what? And by the way, the worst sex I had was when I was the hottest.
Seriously, in my 20s. Yeah.
Yes.
Right? No, and what I was going to say is, a lot of times I have friends at work. I'm practically like the oldest person on the planet at work. I feel like it, you know? And so my bestie and some of the people that I'm friends with are at least 10 years younger than me for the most part.
So they're raising babies.
They are. They're literally doing the things, all those things. And so I always tell them, they never even think about how old I am. Sometimes when it comes up and we talk about like when it's someone's birthday, we're like, oh my God, I'm ancient. No, we all feel the same way. Yeah. Well, they're in their late 30s, so they're coming into that point where like, I guess for everybody's like turning 40 is like it's like your youth is really over.
I was depressed when I turned 40.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so I'm always like, oh girl, like try being me. You're sad because you're 39.
See you in 8 years.
Yeah, right? But you never feel your age.
No, your brain does not age.
Your brain does not feel it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how is that different when you're 90?
It's not. And I can't tell you how many times because not that, we don't sleep with clothes on anyway.
You never have.
I know. And so, and what was really disturbing is my children don't either. And it's really hard to digest. I'm like, well, of course they don't. I mean, they're me. I mean, why would they? Ugh. It's just weird, I'm
I don't know if my
and
child
in fact, at one point I go, when did you transition? Like, I'm just curious. I used to buy you Cinderella pajamas.
Like, I know, right?
When did that stop? And she's like, oh, I don't know, 18. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's fine. I mean
it is what it is.
I go, although like when I had all the cousins over, so I had everybody's kids.
Well, they had to sleep with clothes on.
I slept with clothes on.
Well, you never know. It's a good damn thing because the alarm got set off that night. Can you imagine? It was being naked and having to react quickly?
First of all, I'm stuttering because
she's speechless.
It would never happen because I'm like, I went into mom mode the second that everybody was alone, like I was alone with all of them.
Right.
In the morning, I was up at the crack of dawn. Jeff was up at the crack of dawn. We're getting donuts and everybody's sitting and I've got everybody's, the whole thing. And so
that was so cute.
Reverted right back to I'm like, okay, I've got a tank top and shorts on, and Daryl was wearing underwear, in case anything happened. And then the second we were like snoodled in bed, all of a sudden, nee. I was like, and he's asleep, and I hit him. I'm like, the alarm's going off.
It didn't wake him up?
No, because it was a different alarm.
Yeah, I know.
It was like a silent alarm, and so it's the one that notifies the police.
Oh, great!
And so we had 60 seconds because the police are going to come.
Do you know the thing by heart?
The code?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so
or did you have to look for it?
No. We have apps and stuff, so we can totally turn everything off from our phones and stuff. And so I'm hitting him like, the alarm's going off, and it did not occur to me that I had set the wrong alarm. So all I could think of was Jeff. And
did he open the door and go outside?
No, or that somebody came in. I didn't know. That was what scared me. And so, because there's only, the alarm gets set off by the 3 main entrances.
Right.
And so I thought maybe somebody came in.
Well, you just didn't know.
And it terrified me.
And there's nothing worse than coming out of a dead sleep or an almost sleep.
And I hadn't slept, so I ran down, Daryl was running down, and I ran down because I couldn't get to him fast enough, because I'm like, no one's going to hurt him. I will die before.
Jamie.
I said, because my sister will never forgive me.
Oh, stop.
And this poor child will never, ever be able to live a life, because his mother will never allow it. Ever again.
She's like, never leaving.
She's like, see what happens when I let you spend the night at people's houses?
Oh, God. No. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, that was really...
I trust you with my child.
Frightening. Anyway.
Yeah. He said he was hiding under the blanket because he thought he was in trouble.
I know. I came down and I said, you're not in trouble. This was totally my fault. I'm glad you got your Pikachu. It is my fault. I'm like, you did nothing wrong. It's fine. It's fine. Do you need anything? Can I get you water? Whatever. He's like, no. And he's like, does the little shaky thumb. Had his little iPad. I'm like, okay. I go, you stay up as late as you want. I don't care.
He said he wanted to, but his iPad died. So
shit.
He fell asleep.
Good.
It was late.
And I just love sending him home filthy.
Oh my God. Jamie, there was a ring in the tub. In fact, when he walked in the door, Jerry's like, well, who's this?
This little dirt ball.
And because you know how we are like anal. We are like the cleanest people ever.
I know.
Especially his dad. He was like, March!
He's like, we're going nowhere until you're clean.
He's like, but I'm hungry. He's like, I don't care.
He's like, you're not eating until
the
actual dirt on your body
He
is
literally
removed.
had like a little dirt ring around his mouth.
I know. It looked like he had gone camping.
His feet were so black, I scrubbed them, and they would not come clean. I was like, oh my God.
He had a good time.
You little savage. Yes. Oh, he had the best time.
Yes. Anyway, reality television. We have to talk about some things. First things first, like a lot of people, I'm on Reddit. Yeah. And I subscribe to the TLC Sister Wives Reddit subreddit. The people who are there, it's an interesting makeup because it's a lot of ex-Mormons, ex-fundamentalists, people who are just obsessed with the show, but it's a lot of people from Utah. Like, it's a real
people
mix.
Who are really invested in
and they really understand the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Or have seen it close up.
Yeah, I wonder what they think about this show.
Shit show. They think it's ridiculous. And,
and this is not how it really is, right?
Well, it is, actually. The way Cody is treating his wives, who are no longer having children, this is actually how it goes, is you kind of no longer have a romantic marriage with them, and he continues to, that's why they continue marrying people, because so they can continue to have children, so they can continue having sex. But this last season kind of indicated that he's kind of just settled in with Robin, and that's the main...
she's the youngest one, and she can still have kids.
If she wants, but he kind of really loves her. Like, he actually fell in love with her, and he never really... I mean, I'm not saying he didn't love, but he didn't love him the way he loves this one.
The relationships he had with the other three were more
religious-based.
Yeah.
It was faith-based.
Yeah.
And I respect it.
With a goal.
I respect it, but the goal has been achieved, and the problem with it is these other wives now see him in love with her, and they're like, oh, well, we want that too.
Right.
All of them do.
Well, because as women, I don't care what you say.
Not.
You can say that, look, I entered into this situation. I knew what I was getting.
Of course.
I believed in it, and I wholeheartedly knew that this is what it was going to be about.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I don't know a woman who has ever let a man's penis inside of her that didn't have some kind of feeling about it.
Right.
I mean... maybe on the rare occasion of a drunken one-night stand, you were like, I could never see that person again, and it'll be fine.
If you're going into an agreement with somebody and you know that children are going to be a part of it, you know you're going to be having sex, you gotta like them a little bit.
You gotta like them, and I think at some point,
I think they absolutely love him.
I do too.
Yeah.
Until they die on the vine with the show.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to ride that train as long as they can. And anybody would. Anybody would. Yeah.
It's six-figure
So,
income.
I mean, no matter what is really going on, we will not see it play out on the show. So it makes sense to me that he's like, well, you know what? I can't control them. Yeah. And I think a lot of what they do is all about control.
Absolutely. Of course
he's the man, he's the dominator, he's the king.
Like, well, we give him suggestions, but he ultimately has to pull the trigger, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, because he's the man of the house.
Get over it.
Head of the household.
I'd be like, you know what? That ship has sailed, motherfucker.
Right.
I mean, I would be terrible.
He's even said that. Like, I know you watched the last season, too.
I did.
But
He's like, I don't want to
do this anymore. I don't want to be in charge.
Good.
He's like, I don't want to be the head of the household. I don't want to be everybody's emotional support, physical support. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, well, and the thing is and Janelle, she's just like, you know what, asshole? We signed up for this 30 years ago. You ain't going anywhere.
Right?
Okay, so speaking of reality TV, what were you going to tell me about Jim Edmonds? Edmonds with his Megans from Real Housewives of OC, right?
She was.
Yes.
So she that's how we knew, that's how I came to know who Jim Edmonds
that thing was such a shit show.
I said it from the beginning.
Oh my God, that was a bad marriage.
He had a vasectomy because he had a shitload of kids.
He has a ton of kids.
Yeah, and
she's like, reverse it. And
he did. Well, yes.
She has 3 children.
Moron. Well, because they did the IVF thing, the frozen egg
twins.
thing, so she ended up having twins.
I know.
And so I said straight from the gate, I was like...
And then she had a daughter?
Yes, they have twin sons and a daughter.
Okay.
Aspen was the very first one.
That's right.
She was their first one.
And then she IVF'd. Okay.
I knew. I'm like, she thinks she's young and hot and that she's the one... and that he will eventually come to his senses after they have these kids.
And she was a control freak.
So is he.
Yes!
But I'm just saying, here's the thing with men, and we were talking about this before we started taping the show. If they tell you from the beginning, like, I don't want children, and they're firm about it.
They're not kidding.
They're not fucking kidding.
No, they're serious.
They mean it. And, especially an older man, and he's, 15 years older than her?
He's probably my age.
At least, yeah. He told her that. I don't want children. And if you don't want to get married because you do, I get it. He's like, but I'm just letting you know. And then she fucking wore him down. Boo-hoo, I'm never going to have kids. I want to be a mom. It's my lifelong dream. And he finally
why did you marry
whatever.
Him? He's like, fine, I'll do it.
And guess what? 2 years later, they're divorced. Because he's like, I don't want this. I've already raised children. I'm done. Yeah.
Well, here's an idea, Jim. Stop fucking 20-year-olds.
Well, he's back at it.
I know.
Because he's engaged right now.
To a 20-year-old.
She's in her, she's very, very young.
She's probably 28.
Yeah. She doesn't have children.
Of
She's
course
a model. And I'm like, you're going to do the same shit that you've been doing, you idiot.
He doesn't learn.
And I'm sure he's made the same declarations. And by the way, this guy, so you know who he is, he was a former MLB player. Yep, and he was apparently quite good and successful. Yeah. It's been a long time since he's played.
He's got a long trail of marriages and kids.
He does, and now he's most famous for, he's an announcer.
Yes, he is.
And he's still very much in the scene.
Oh, yeah, he's very successful. He couldn't have hated being on that show more.
God.
Hated it. He resented every frame.
The thing is that, I don't know if it's like this with everybody, but professional athletes are a unique breed.
Oh, they are.
They really have a hard time faking who they are.
I appreciate that.
Well, I do too.
A lot.
And when you go on a reality show, a lot of these husbands know that they have to be like a prince.
Extra.
Because otherwise they're going to look like a total fucking asshole.
Because I'm just being myself.
Right?
I would
That's what I mean.
You know what's funny is that women can beat themselves, and everybody's like, I hate her, she's such a cunt, but I love watching her.
I know.
But Amanda's, and they're like, he's the worst husband
ever.
You
deserve better.
Honey, get rid of him. Yeah. Although my favorite scene when they were on that season is there was a big blowout, and because Vicky hated him from day one, which I loved, and she's like, you'll be divorced in a year,
and everyone's like, oh, how dare you,
and she was so correct.
So right. In fact, Vicky's very, very much on social media.
Oh yeah.
And so she has relished that.
Oh my god.
She did not let it go.
I'd be like, lick it up, bitch.
Especially now that she's not. Yeah, since they fired her from the show.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I have nothing to lose now. I can say whatever the hell I want.
She's like, I'm rich and I don't need the fucking money. So let me tell you the reality.
She never did need the money, by the way. She is the one housewife that was always self-made.
It's true.
And had her own money.
It's true.
The Housewives was great. It was really, she used it to milk her business.
That's why they call her the OG.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So anyway,
I respect it.
Yeah. So
she has bad taste in men, but
poor Megan, now she has all of these children. She's single. She's now in her 30s. No one wants her. You have 3 kids. You know,
and you're not very nice.
Well, she's all right, but
she's doing the influencer thing. I mean, she's
because what else does she have?
She's a momfluencer, whatever you call it. Whereas and in like I
guess in rich people world that works, but for me, looking from the outside, I'm like, bitch, you got what you fucking deserved.
It's true, and I'm sure she's getting a shit ton of money from him anyway.
So. Well, she comes from an extremely wealthy family.
In fact, I didn't think they were very big fans of him. By the way,
well, so that's what I was gonna say is when he was on the show, he had absolutely no ability to hide who he was. He couldn't do it.
He's like, what?
Which is why everybody hated him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because he's like,
I didn't hate him.
I didn't hate him either.
I watched him. I'm like, this is a guy who's like,
He was honest as the day is long.
Yeah, he's like, I'm doing this because this is for you. I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm sure in his mind is like, this is great for me because when we do get divorced, you'll have your own money and your own thing going on, and I don't have to support you because
there was a time when she's like, we need to move. We need to get. He's like, why? What's wrong with this house? Like, he's like, why? Yeah. He's like, I don't get it. He's like, I'm gonna be in fucking Louisiana doing baseball. I don't care where you live.
Well, and the thing is because she's from family money. Yeah, she's spoiled rotten, and she's used to other people paying for everything that she does, her parents.
You know, and she is really pretty.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So she was like,
she'll find an older gentleman to eventually squire her about.
Yeah.
So is Below Deck current? Is it on hiatus?
There's a season running right now.
Anything good?
It's all right. You know, the season that's currently running right now is called Below Deck Med. The captain is, I know this doesn't matter, but it is her, it's her shtick.
Okay.
She's a lesbian.
Okay.
And she's constantly saying like,
promoting that
women in this industry are not. It's a very male dominated industry.
Well, they're captains.
Being a yacht captain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's a white collar job. Yeah. You know, it's all rich people and. So that's her thing. Is like, look, you can do this. You can be a woman. You can be a lesbian. You can still.
So that they're like, okay. So every time you get a chance to talk on the camera, make sure you talk about how hard it is to be a woman in this industry.
She does, and it's evolved because this is like her 2nd or 3rd season now, and she came off as a real bitch in the beginning. Everybody hated her,
of course.
And I think she's realized, okay, and I have to spin my personality on the show so that this keeps going.
Right.
Or
they'll cut me out.
Well, eventually, yeah. They do listen to the audience.
They love to hate, but you have to be. There has to be some reason why they love to hate you.
Exactly.
You can't just be a bitch. You have to be something else.
Yeah, and the thing is she is a real yacht captain.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big transition for people who do something real in real life and then they go on TV.
Sure.
Because like we were just saying, you can't necessarily be the way you are.
It's a bit scripted.
Yeah. Well, according to Captain Lee, my favorite, he says it's absolutely not scripted. He swears it's not scripted.
Yeah, but you still have to play up your personality.
Well, and people have figured that out.
Yeah.
Because Below Deck has become such a phenomenon and everyone loves it. They're like, I want to be on the show. And I've seen the boring ones. They only last for 1 season.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, everybody was really themselves. Boo,
yeah, but the people who are really exciting to watch, they've been on 3 or 4 seasons.
And they're a little, they basically always say what they feel instead of hiding it.
Like Kate Chastain, she figured it out really quick.
She's like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. I
was made for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
She reminds me so much of us. She is so cool. Like us. Not born into privilege, very intelligent and attractive. and basically felt like, you know what, I was born to be rich. I should have been rich.
I say that all the time.
I do too. It's so natural for me.
Okay, here's an example.
God, that sounds so horrible.
Okay, here's an example. So I have a fan in my room because it's like perpetually hot, and I'm always hot, and I hate it.
You look at the forecast, it says 105 for like 10 days in a row.
Shut up!
I swear!
So
that's why you said, oh, it's only going to be 97 today. I'm like, well, hallelujah.
It's balmy.
God.
So anyway, I have this fan on, and I have it facing the bed, so at night I have cool air coming in because it's just so hot. So Daryl, he doesn't like it really. He's distracted by everything because he's a light sleeper. So what he'll do is in the middle of the night he'll turn the fan off. And he did it. He did it for a few days in a row, and I didn't say anything because I'm like, well, I don't want to be so selfish.
Right.
Because if it's loud,
Jerry has no problem being selfish.
So then he got up in the middle of it. It was like 3 a.m, and he turned off the fan. I go, why are you doing that? And he goes, what? I go, well, why are you turning off the fan? And he goes,
it's on for a reason.
Because it's loud. And I just, I'm like, oh, okay. And I go, and then there's silence. I'm like, it's on for a reason, right? It's not because
it wasn't happenstance.
I go, so then, now you can see I've moved it over to my side of the bed.
Oh, yes.
So that it's blowing just on me.
Right.
And then finally I said, you know what? I go, what I really need is I think I need like a little oscillating fan they have the silent ones, and they're small, and they can be put on the nightstand.
Dyson makes a great one.
I go, and then it'll just like slowly go up and down on my body, and then and I'm listening to myself, and he's got a face. I go, I would be one of those people who would have someone waving with palm fronds. Like that's who I am. I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. Wave a palm frond on me.
You're not alone though, because this is Jerry.
And he's like, I was just thinking that. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm such a princess. Jesus Christ.
You know what? This is the conversations that Jerry and I have when I'm like, you're like a woman. I can't. I'm like, I'm the one that's supposed to have neuroses, not you. I'm like, it's a battle. I think I'm the only one aware that we're playing it, but I'm Daryl.
Yes.
I will come in and
I know. Because when
he has the fan, I turn it off. I'll come back in a minute later. It's back on, wide open.
Well, what's funny is like, Daryl was saying, I was listening to the show the other day, and how you're like, oh, do you like going over? You're like, no, I want someone to get my coffee for me. I don't want to be the one.
I hate that I have to do it.
No, but there's always one dominant figure who does all the things.
Well, and the thing about Jerry is he couldn't be any more masculine.
I know.
Like, he's so masculine.
Except when it comes to this, apparently.
But his idiosyncrasies are profound.
They're very unusually loud.
Oh, God, it's exhausting. And then we have these. So in my mind, you were just saying, like, well, I don't want it to be be selfish. Like, it's like, I want the fan on, so therefore it's on,
Right.
I kind of feel like that way with Jerry. I'm like, you know what? Why does it always have to be your way? You never give in on anything on these types of things.
Right.
And he's like, no, it always has to be your way. Because in his mind, if the fan's not on, it's like, well, she didn't want the fan on, so the fan's not going to be on. And I'm like,
right.
God, we just can't win.
It's a no-win. Speaking of no-win, I know that you don't watch any of the Bachelor things, right?
I don't.
Okay. So I
don't know why.
Because they're all 20.
dumb.
They're all 20-year-olds, and it's really hard because they're 20.
And giving someone a rose, and I just feel, you know what it is? I can't buy into The Bachelor because I feel like it's so fake.
Well, first of all, in a million years, I would never compete against another woman for a dick. In a million years. I don't understand it. I'm like, I get, but what I started to realize that the premise here is not to win the man. The premise is to get exposure so you can be an Instagram influencer or
another reality show.
Kicking off your whatever career in reality TV that you want. And so now I understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So now I don't look at it that way anymore. They're just trying to get on. And
they're not really going to marry this person and be with them forever.
They want to stay on as long as possible so they can get as much camera time as possible.
It's like Top Chef. You don't want to be the first chef to get voted off.
No one remembers
you. Did one episode.
No one remembers you. They'll be like, oh yeah, and what they'll do is they'll throw them a bone and be like, yeah, I was the first one to get cut off of season 4 of Top Chef. We're like, oh, well, what are you doing now? It's like, oh, well,
I work at Denny's.
It's like I'm a line cook, and it's like, okay, so we're sorry. Anyway, so Bachelor in Paradise is what actually got me hooked on the whole Bachelor thing.
Right.
is I started watching it. I'm like, what is this nightmare I'm watching? It's crazy. They give them alcohol. They're on a beach. They're not allowed to have their phones, and so they are cut off completely from society.
What is this, Survivor?
For 3 months, they bring in these incredibly gorgeous people.
Yes.
I mean, some of them I find...
Whether it's the girl or the guy version, right? Because they have both. They have Bachelorette, too,
Their
right?
bodies are amazing. And, they might have fugly faces, but, those bodies are meant to fuck.
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes both. But same thing with Below Deck,
But there's always something odd about the ones.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what? I wouldn't find you attractive in a million years. But here you are, practically naked. And I'm like, I'll watch and see what you do.
Right.
With alcohol. So anyway, I started watching it. I'm like, I can't stop watching this shit show. It is a fucking shit show. And so they bring back the losers of all the Bachelor seasons, and they go into the files, man. It's not just the recent people, it's a lot. And the people who come back, they're like, oh, she was the villain in episode 7, I remember her. So they're the shitsters. But what's great is that there's one girl, her name's Victoria, and she was on, and she called herself Queen Victoria. She's like, I'm a queen and I deserve to have my king. And she would call him her king all the time, but it was so disgusting, and I hated it.
Oh, I hate that.
But she's on the show. She looks completely different. She saw herself on that show and went,
who doesn't?
You know what?
Everyone does that.
I look bad. And so she is blonde, 20 pounds lighter.
Absolutely.
Tan. I mean, she looks amazing. And so I'm like, I can't wait to see this woman cause trouble. It's going to be amazing. So
the same wound, Flav. The same wound.
I fucking love that show.
I do too.
But
I'm just saying that, they did, that was the similar premise.
Yes, it is.
They brought her back over and over.
Oh, I fucking love New York. Anyway, so Bachelor in Paradise has started. I'm DVRing it because there's so many commercials. So
I know.
I DVR that shit and I watch it the next day. I play World of Warcraft, right?
Yes, I do that.
Okay, so I have a friend.
I didn't know you still played.
I still play it. I love it. I can't help myself. I love the people I play with.
Well, that's how Lauren met her husband.
I know.
Because they became BFFs. They were like a team.
You know what's funny is that I'm currently playing with a couple who met on World of Warcraft as well.
Yeah, and of course at the time, Lauren's been married 8 years this year. And
do they still play together?
Well, they've moved on.
They've moved on to
They're
other
both
games.
hardcore gamers.
Oh, yeah,
but they play computer games.
Oh, cool.
I couldn't even tell you what they play.
That's fine. There's so many.
I mean, Lauren has a...
she has like the sick PC.
Oh, God, yes. But
gamer.
no, she has... There's a social media platform that's for gamers, and I'm trying to think of what
Twitch?
it's called. Yes.
Yeah.
She has a Twitch.
Yeah.
She does little live streams and little video. Yeah.
Tell me what it is. I'm gonna find out.
You'll find out.
I'm gonna follow
She'll tell
her.
you.
I have Twitch.
She thought I didn't know what Twitch was, and then she finally told me. She's like, "Well, I know you don't know what it is, but I have a Twitch account." And I was like, "Well, I've heard of it, but you're right. I don't know what it is." Well, then one day I just decided to do it, and I watched it. I'm like, look at how adorable my little fucking kid is. I'm like, she is adorable and smart and funny, and she's so into it. Like, it's cute as hell.
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
I had no idea what she was talking about.
Who cares? Daryl watches Twitch, people.
Yeah.
Guys, I told him, he goes, there's two kinds of people who do Twitch. Well, more than two, but the two that make the most money at it. There's the guys who are really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And then there's the chicks who are kind of good, but they wear like a tank top with no bra.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that Lauren?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, she's like serious.
Okay.
Yeah. She's
good.
very serious.
Anyway, I follow some gamer women I absolutely love on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm all in on Bachelor in Paradise. I encourage you to attempt to watch it.
I would absolutely watch it.
I tried to get Paula to watch it, and she's like, how can you watch this? It is awful. It's so bad.
There's a new season coming out.
And you don't need to know the people.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the only thing, though. If they bring back old people and you kind of have to know who they are.
To me, I didn't know anyone. I just watched it blind, and I went in, and I'm like, everybody comes in, they go, oh my God, Josh is here. And I'm like, who? I don't know.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
It's very clear who the assholes were.
Right away.
Pretty quick. And you're like, they don't say I've changed. They're like, hey, bitches, what's up?
Oh, God.
I mean, it's all that. They're douchebags. They're disgusting. and I love it. And I can't wait to watch it. And I hope it's good. And what I love about it is because they are completely cut off from society, there's no social media.
No outside people influencing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm like,
so it's raw.
Yeah. And so
cool.
I'm excited about it, as you can tell. So
yeah,
try to watch it and we can talk about it because it's so fun.
That would be awesome.
Each week it's just full of shit.
Well, you have to watch my shows too, though.
Below Deck?
Yes.
You know what? I will watch Below Deck, but
I will even tell you what season to watch. They're all on Peacock for free.
Fine. I'll watch season 1.
No, don't watch season 1.
Well, then which?
Because season 1 was the pilot year. They're never good.
Okay, well, which
the production is bad. They're not spending any money on it.
Which is the best? What's the first season of Captain Lee?
Well, he's in all of them.
Okay, well, which is the best season with Captain Lee to start with?
It's actually not. It's Captain Lee and Kate Chastain.
Okay.
They have a thing together.
Okay.
A daughter-father thing.
Yeah.
So, you have to watch it. But basically what he says, in one of the reunion shows, I think it was the second season, which was Kate's first season, he said, Andy...
Andy Cohen.
Yes, thank you. Andy Cohen's got the 411. Anyway, Andy Cohen hosts the reunion, and he says to Captain Lee, he goes, who was the better chief stew, Adrian or Kate? And he doesn't even, he's like, Kate. And he's like, why? Why was she better? He's like, because she knows her job. She knows exactly what she's doing. He goes, and how would you like to, he goes, you can't have a battle of the wits with somebody that comes with no weapon. Which is what he was talking about the old chief stew. So...
Well, what season?
That was season 2. But
okay.
If I were you, I would watch season 3.
Okay.
Either 3 or 4. And they get better as they go.
Fine. I will watch season 3, and if I love it, I'll watch season 4, and I will report back.
Okay. And take your time. We can talk about it in 6 months.
No, I will not wait that long.
Whatever. Okay. I'm just saying, if you start to watch it and you're like, I absolutely can't get into it, I'd rather you just tell me.
No, well, I will.
Seriously. I'll do the same thing with The Bachelor.
Well, let me tell you.
And if I hate it, I'm going to be like, Jamie, I hate it. I couldn't watch it.
I told, well, the reason I brought up my game is that there's a woman that I play with. She's a smidge older than me, but she's like, did you watch Bachelor last night? I'm like, did? She goes, what the fuck is going on in that? And I'm like, I love it. And that's why I love gaming, because there are so many walks of life.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in tech.
Fun.
A lot of military.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, because they can play that over there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, or wherever they're stationed, they'll play. Yeah. And not as many as there used to be, because now that we're not really in wartime, so they're not deployed a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of tech guys. Anyway, it's super fun, and I'm a girl, and I definitely play like a girl.
That's okay.
They tolerate it because I don't kill anybody, but I'm not the best. But I don't care.
It's not all about that.
If they don't want me to play, they'll just say, maybe you shouldn't play.
Well, I mean, there's certain groups where they're very serious and they don't let anyone in who's not.
Yeah. Yes.
So you just stay away from those ones.
There's a few people who are starting to go like, we gotta be serious, you guys. I'm like, why? And everyone thinks they're assholes if they do it. It's like everybody gets kind of quiet and everybody's all, and then everyone's whispering to each other on side chats, going, what the fuck is going on? I'm out. I don't want to do it.
Right.
We're adults. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
We're adults.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, anyway. All right. Well, that's enough reality television. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, no. Actually, there was one other thing that happened. So,
Erica.
Yeah. Tom Girardi, I don't know. Have we ever talked about this on?
Yes.
Okay. So we all know who he is.
He's a grifter.
Originally, he is the lawyer in Erin Brockovich.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so he was the guy that ended up winning the $400 million lawsuit
right.
for all these people who were being poisoned by PG&E.
Okay, I didn't realize that was him.
Yes, that's how he became known.
I thought he died.
No.
Wow.
In the movie, they start out with a local attorney.
Yeah.
And as they start to discover the depth of what happened, yes, and that this is going to turn into a class action.
Oh, then he came in.
They hired a big gun.
Okay.
And it was Tom Girardi.
That was him. Okay.
Yep. And remember, Erin Brockovich hated him at first.
Because they thought she wasn't educated and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, right. And so, they had, but the problem was they needed Tom Girardi's money.
Yes.
Because they couldn't afford to hire all the experts and do all the discovery they needed to do. So they needed a back, and he ended up being it. Well, it ended up being the best thing they ever did.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like I said, they got $400 and something million.
Yes.
And that was how that's how he kind of made, he was already really successful, but just in a commercial way where people knew about him in the public.
This absolutely changed everything.
Yes. So everybody's like, who's this Tom Girardi?
Yes.
So then he became the guy that you went to if you had a mass class action lawsuit.
Okay.
So that became his shtick.
Oh.
Well, he became incredibly wealthy doing that.
Okay.
And most recently was the attorney that all of the victims of the Lion Air crash, which was the Boeing 747 MAX, that has a flaw in the system, and now 3 of them have crashed, the commercial airliners, and they have killed passengers.
Hundreds, yes.
Yeah. People who were like flying for vacation and stuff, your literally worst fear when you fly, right? So these people, knowing his background, have hired him to represent them against the airline and Boeing. And so apparently he is now being accused of embezzling their money.
Oh.
He took their money, the settlements that he was receiving from the airlines.
And didn't give it to them?
And spent it.
Why?
Because he's a crook, apparently.
Jesus Christ.
Well, and the problem is that his wife is a very well-known housewife.
Yes.
Real housewife.
Erica Jane.
Yes. And Erica Jane has become incredibly successful since the show debuted with her on it. And her shtick on the show has always been, I'm married to Tom Girardi. Yeah. He's 30 years older than her. But they've been married for 20 years, so it's a legit marriage.
Yes.
And he has poured millions of dollars into her career to help her become what she eventually was on Broadway. She's very, very successful.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Or hearing, I remember reading about it, yeah.
Yeah, she was on Broadway about right before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
And so, as Roxy. And so...
Oh, Roxy Hart.
Right. Mm-hmm. So... They just finished filming the current season that we're watching. Well, not just finished, 6 months ago, probably.
Yeah.
And all of this was just starting to unfold while they were filming.
Oh, shit.
So there was really no way to not have it be.
You have to talk about it.
And it's coming out in every news media outlet known to man. Not TMZ, not E. It's coming out in the LA Times.
Yeah,
it's coming out
it's real.
New York. Yes, it's real. Legit. And so she is having to, well, now as it's playing out, they're basically stating that she was complicit, that she knew. That he was transferring $20-30 million into her LLC accounts to hide the money.
Why would he need...
It's ridiculous. But, her being on... Yeah. Her being on The Real Housewives, the show is all about exploiting wealth and how wealthy people live, right? So she wanted to be the wealthiest of all. Well, it's always about that on the show. Like, who's the richest?
They're somehow trying to figure out who's the wealthiest.
They're always trying to one-up each other on, like, who's richer, right?
That's right.
So, but she was always the creme de la creme. Like, their mansion was crazy. And the cars that she drove, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis that she had, they have 2 jets,
God.
She would take the girls on we're going to take the small jet. Tom said we could take it to New York, and she'd take all the housewives to New York, and just really extravagant lifestyle. Her clothes were like, where did you get that? She's like, oh, they made this for me at Dolce, or, just crazy Cartier jewelry that she would show off. The one, she was wearing a ring in one of the scenes, and Kyle Richard goes, that ring is equivalent to having a Ferrari on your finger. Wow. It's literally like $250,000.
You know what I love, though, is that Kyle knows money.
Oh, she does.
She knows
And I'm
money.
sorry, her and Marisa are fucking rich as hell now.
Yeah. They are. But I just love how she always recognizes.
Well, her sister's Kathy Hilton.
Of course.
And Kathy Hilton is now a housewife.
That's right. Oh,
she's the best.
Okay, first of all, Kathy Hilton is amazingly funny.
She's hilarious.
She's so goddamn funny.
She's made the season.
And what's great is, I should watch it.
She's so real.
I've never been a fan of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. No, I was a hardcore...
I was ready to stop watching it.
I was a hardcore OC, but the Beverly Hills thing, I'm like, okay, they brought in Lisa Rinna, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get what they're going to do now, right?
Well, it's a very real dynamic for sure. Like,
I love
something
it.
we can actually relate to, even though these people are richer than,
Well,
God.
it just shows you that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right? and as a matter of fact, one of the funniest scenes that's happened this season that everybody's been talking about is there's a scene where Kyle Richards is like, you know what, can we all just be hunky-dory and, like, move on? Mm-hmm. And Kathy Hilton, and she's dead dog serious. Like, it's not an act. She's not being told to say that. She looks at, she goes, who's hunky-dory? And now, so that's the thing. Like, everybody, there's memes on it, and people have repeated it over and over because you can tell it's a real thing.
They're probably just so thrilled that they got Kathy on that show because that show was tanking.
It was. I swear to God, I was not going to watch it this season.
I was so over the Vanderpump shit. I'm like, ugh.
It's horrible. So it's a big thing. Yeah, it's a big thing, and it's one of the reasons why. One, they have Kathy Hilton now, and 2, they have this thing going on.
Wow.
So it's a lot.
All right, I'm going to have to watch.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch. All right, well, we're running out of time, but I do have an ugly and awkward moment. Do you have one?
I don't.
Okay, well, let's do some ugly and awkward moments of the week. In the beginning when we forgot to turn on the microphone. Okay.
Right.
And it was really funny. We were talking about sex and penises. Oh, well. Anyway, Daryl and I were watching TV, I don't know, whatever we're watching. And there's always streaming commercials and all this stuff. So I don't really pay attention. Well, I was watching it because it looked like a movie was coming out. And it has some famous actor, and I don't even know who it was. It doesn't matter. But there was a lot of explosions and a lot of lights and stuff. And it was really like, wow, this is very action-oriented. And then it came up, and then the title came up. But in the middle of the title, there was like some kind of graphics or whatever. So it didn't look like one word to me. It looked like two words. And I said, why does it say Remini Science?
What did it say?
What's Remini Science? I go, you mean like Leah Remini? Like Remini Science?
Oh, really?
And he goes, it's reminiscence.
It was one word?
And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, the I was a graphic.
Oh.
It wasn't a line. And I was like...
Oh. They were trying to be clever.
I'm like, wow, I feel dumb.
You're
I'm like, how did I not see that? Well, how did I not see that? I'm watching it myself. And now now it's on like all the fucking time.
And now you're like, okay,
and I'm like, well,
reminded that I was a moron the first time I saw this.
And of course, Daryl, because he's his dad, he can't help himself. He's like, hey, look, it's Remini Science.
Shut up.
And I told him that. I'm like, if you say that one more time.
Once is funny, twice is silly, three times is spanking. And he'd be like, hey, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, oh, really? So then, and so that's my awkward moment. But the other day, I don't know, are you weird about words? Some words that you don't like?
No, we've talked about that.
They're like uncomfortable, right?
Absolutely.
There's this cut of meat that I really, really like.
Kodo?
No. It's a cut of meat. It's
Kodo salami?
No.
Oh, like a steak or something.
Yeah, it's a cut of beef.
Gotcha.
And I really, really like it. It's called flap steak.
Well, I thought you could call that flank steak, too.
No. Flank is different.
Well, so...
Flap is very thin.
Yeah.
Okay. It is the top of a flank.
Isn't there another word for that, though?
No.
That's literally the only?
That's all. I mean...
A skirt steak.
It's not skirt steak.
Oh, I'm like, it has to be something else.
No. So they call it that, and I go, oh, hey, and so Joe goes, oh, hey, look, they have flap steak. I'm like, you know what?
Don't say it.
I said, I really don't like that word. He's like, you don't like flap? I'm like, I don't. And
so then he keeps saying it.
He did.
Does he do it on purpose?
Yes. Oh. And I said, I really don't like that word. He goes, what, that? And I go, stop it.
Stop saying it.
And I go, it's another F word I don't like. It's really weird.
I don't like flesh. I'm not a huge fan.
That's weird. Fleshy? Ew. I don't like that either.
Okay, wait. You're like, really? That's weird. And then you're like, fleshy? Oh, wait, no, I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Anyway, so we get home, and Mackenzie
Perspiration is another one.
That's a weird word. Perspiration.
I think I don't like what it represents.
I don't like the symbolism.
I just imagine a sweaty crack or something. I just...
No, so we get home, and we were, going through all the food, and we freeze everything, right?
He's like, where do you want the flap steak?
Kenzie was over, and she was chilling with us and watching us do our thing. And Daryl goes, he's like, oh, so we have 2 flap steaks. And I go, you know what? Stop it. And Kenzie's like, what's going on? She goes, oh, she doesn't like it when I say flap steak. And I'm like, I go, God damn it. And she's like, really, Mom?
It's like needles in my ears.
I go, I hate it. And he goes, what if we called it flappy? I'm like, that's worse. Stop it. And so then he goes, here, Kenzie. He goes, why don't you label the freezer bag for me? Just put flappy steak. And I'm like,
now I have to look at it too?
And so then yesterday I pulled it out.
Does it say it on the label?
It says F steak on the label. And so I go into the freezer yesterday because I made stir fry.
Now I'm gonna look.
I pulled out. I'll show it to you. And so I pulled out the one that says little floppy steak.
Kenzie, big floppy steak. She's her
and I was like, daughter. God damn it! I'm like, you guys are assholes. I couldn't believe it. Hilarious. It was hilarious. And I'm like, well, I'm going big today. So, God, I laughed so hard when I saw that. I'm like, you guys are jerks.
Well, you know what's funny? What sucks for us is that these are only things that bother us. No one else cares.
Do you think anybody? You know what I saw today?
I don't know.
I saw it today. It said, It said.
Why do we have to be so weird?
I don't know. I saw this meme today, and it said, "First day of work is always so embarrassing." I'm like, it is true, isn't it? Your first day of work is so embarrassing.
It's especially for us because we're so fucking awkward.
I know.
And when I'm nervous, it's 10 times worse. I'm like, I absolutely shouldn't even exist on these days. But you have to get through the first one so that you're less awkward the second day.
And you know what? But maybe that's why we hated the first day of school. It's the same.
Right? But back in the day, I didn't have the maturity that I have now to admit, like, I'm awkward.
We're just awkward
That's
people.
why it's weird to go to school. I hate it.
It's always my mouth that gets me in trouble. So
me
first
too.
I'm like, hello, friends. Something really stupid. When I walk in, they're like, who's this person?
Oh my God, I do have an awkward moment.
Tell me.
So yesterday I had like a huge meeting. It's a quarterly meeting, so I don't have it very often. And it is with every executive in the county,
okay,
with the exception of the CEO.
Okay.
So very important high-level executives. And it's quite rare that those level of management interact with the lowly people like me.
Sure.
But as you all know, because I remind you constantly, I am the chair of my governing board for my union.
Sure.
Okay.
So you got to be there.
So I attend these meetings because of that, and you know, I have an obligation to participate, you know, and not just sit there and be a bump on the log. You know what I mean? And so I try very hard to be confident when I go into the meeting. Prior.
Like I
prep.
This.
Yes.
I am woman.
I prep. Yes.
Yeah.
I prep quite profusely that whole
look
day.
In the mirror, you're like, you could do this. You could do this.
I do. I'm like, this is not the day you're going to have a bad day, hair day, or makeup day. It's not happening.
You don't get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, you're not going to be puffy. You're not going to be weird.
We will not have eye slits today.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I will look alert.
I try very hard. Yeah. So I'm sure no one else does it except for me. I'm the only one. They're also used to seeing each other. They're like, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there was a point where I had an item on the agenda, and it came to it, and
my stomach would be like, oh.
Well, I had forgotten I put it on there.
Oh, crap.
Because the meeting's quarterly, so it was 3 months ago when
I want to discuss this.
Yeah, well, and I don't have to submit. I submit it to like a secretary or something who just sticks it on the agenda.
And they're like, okay. Here we
right.
go.
So I had sort of forgot that I had it on there because it had been so long. And so when they came to the agenda, you know, Ted, who's the director of our union organization, he says, okay, the next item on the agenda is McCall. He called me by my last name. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And he said what it was. He's like, go ahead, Miss. He's like, Miss Stephanie or whatever. And I'm like, you know, immediately I was like, oh, shit. Like, I forgot.
Oh.
But I didn't skip a beat.
Oh, good.
That wasn't it. I proceeded to talk about it. I got some feedback. It was a discussion. You know, it was maybe 7-8 minutes, which isn't a long time, but it's long enough that you're talking and people are looking at you and listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, they're either losing interest or they're really listening.
Well, I try my damnedest to be as articulate and intelligent sounding.
Yeah.
And I did a pretty good job, I have to say. I have flubbed before.
Of course.
So it's not like I've not done it
Sure.
but this particular time I was like, okay, you didn't do anything really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You didn't say anything horribly embarrassing or awkward. So you're almost home free.
I'm almost laughing and I don't even know what it is.
So the guy that works for the actual county, who's the top dog, he's literally the director's boss. He is very gracious, and for some strange reason, he is taking a liking to me.
Oh, maybe he feels sorry for you.
That's probably true. Yeah, he's probably patronizing me for sure.
No, go on.
But we used to do all these meetings in person, and I always sat to his immediate right.
Nice. You know what?
Because I'm deaf.
Oh,
and so I always sit right in the front.
So you can hear everything he says.
I have to, because if they start talking to me, and I will be like, what? You know,
yes,
I mean,
yes.
So anyway, so now we're doing it all on Zoom, but so I make my point and I move on, and he's like, you know what, I'm really glad you brought that up. Thank you. He's like, Mr., you know, to the director, he's like, I would like you to take charge of this issue. I want you to work directly with Stephanie, and that's huge, because the director is like, I have to work with this peon directly? Really? But that's his boss. So he's like, no, you will work with the peon.
Yes.
You know, and so he's like, well, thank you so much. I'm really glad you brought that up. That's an important issue for sure. So what do? I give the thumbs up.
Okay, Jeff.
And as soon as I got the dumbest smile on my face, I'm like, oh.
I win.
I'm like, you idiot.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I hated myself so bad.
And in your mind, you're like, I was this close to getting out. I was this close.
So close. I had to do it. I had to sabotage myself.
You can't help yourself.
I just couldn't help it. And so I'm
oh
like,
my God, that's so funny.
I was just praying that the Zoom I have a really heavy filter on mine.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So that I'm like nice and blurred.
Yeah, you look
not
nice.
blurred, but I'm soft.
You don't see every crag.
You see nothing.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that the beet red face that I had after I did it didn't show.
It was like muffled.
Well, like, or they stopped looking at me because they moved on to the next subject, and hopefully. It's like and this is one of those meetings where it's like watching the Brady Bunch introduction, where there's all those squares.
Yeah.
There's literally 37 participants.
Yes.
And I'm literally lowest on the totem pole.
Thumbs up, everyone! Hey!
Like, oh God, we thought okay, never mind.
Like,
oh my God, it was awful.
Poor Stephanie. All right. Well, that's the show. Thank you for listening, and we will be back next week with a new episode.
Yes.